Hello, and welcome to another episode of Video Game Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch. And I think I know I say this a lot, but I think I'm going to try to keep this one pretty brief. Just because, well, partially because it's actually a re-release of a Wii U game. So a lot of people have probably already played it. I had not, but anyway, neither here nor there. The other reason that I'm going to keep this brief is because I just don't have that much to say about it. And it's a very well-known franchise, so I feel like a lot of people probably know what they're getting in for, especially especially after I tell you that it's really very similar to other Donkey Kong Country games, in my opinion. So I'm not really going to break it down. It's a 2.5D side-scrolling, Mario-style game. I have heard a lot of people say that the Donkey Kong Country series has a reputation for being probably considered more difficult than than a lot of the Mario games. Not that those are always cakewalks either, mind you, they provide a pretty good challenge. But Donkey Kong Country can be pretty hard, ranging from pretty hard to downright frustrating, in my opinion. But then, also on the flip side of things, I've heard, other people on other channels talk about how this game, Tropical Freeze, is possibly the most perfect Donkey Kong Country game. And maybe that's the case. I want to be honest with you guys, I am not the biggest fan of the Donkey Kong Country series. They're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But aside from this game, the only other game in the series that I've played all the way through or really given much time to at all is the first one, the original Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. And that game, I played through it once. I was, of course, at the time, it was a visually just amazing game to see on the Super Nintendo. And so I had a lot of people back then, I had a lot of appreciation for the first game just based on the presentation. And also, it's a very competent platformer. But having said that, I played through the game once. I wasn't really concerned about collecting all the things or, getting the extras or whatever. I just wanted to move from left to right and get the credits to roll. And I did that. And once I did, I have literally never played Donkey Kong Country again. And it's not because I hate it or anything. It's just, some games call you back, like they almost pull you to, hey dude, you should play this game again. Donkey Kong Country just did not do that to me. It was a good time, but when it was over, it was over. And, all of that rambling just to say that, for me at least, the same thing applies here with Tropical Freeze. And so if you're in that same camp with the other Donkey Kong Country games, then you can probably expect to feel similarly about this one. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the visuals and the audio. It is, it's published by Nintendo. It's developed by Retro Studios, but published by Nintendo. And, as with pretty much anything that they put their name on, the production value here is pretty top shelf. It's a good looking game, good sounding game. So really the only other thing that I want to, definitely make sure that I emphasize is where is the challenge level at for this game? Some people think, I've heard some people say that Donkey Kong Country games are insanely hard. I don't know if I would put it in the top tier of most difficult games, but it's pretty difficult. And more importantly, it's okay, so it starts off with a good level of challenge, I feel like. I would say the first half of the game is not a cakewalk, but very reasonable in terms of its difficulty. And then things really, with the fourth, there's 6 worlds total, and then there's like a 7th one which you can choose to unlock, and I probably never will. I'm just not that interested. Yeah, so the first 3 worlds are like, they're not without challenge, but you can get through them. Starting on the 4th level, things start to get pretty frustrating. The 5th level even more so, and the 6th level, or the 6th world I should say, by that point it's really a pretty frustrating game, or at least I found it to be. And so one of the updates, one of the more significant updates, so far as I'm aware, between the original version of this game on the Wii U and this newer Switch version, is the addition of another difficulty level called Funky Mode. And so in Funky Mode, you have an extra hit point, and there are some other advantages there as well, but having an extra hit point is definitely like a game changer in a situation like this for most people. And then the other addition to this version, I believe, is that you can play as Funky Kong, he's like a surfer version of Donkey Kong, and he has instead of 2 to 3 hit points, he has 5, and he has some other abilities which make the game considerably easier, but honestly still pretty hard in my opinion. And like, I didn't switch to him and suddenly breeze through without any challenge. So I personally feel like playing the game in Funky Mode with Funky Kong is a good way. You might be, I know a lot of people out there might be inclined to like avoid easy modes because they're not gonna get any challenge out of the game, and I guess I'm just trying to articulate that that's not the case here. In fact, for myself, and keep in mind, I like games that provide a challenge, but I felt like playing with Funky Kong in Funky Mode made the game more enjoyable. Because in standard mode with just Donkey Kong, like I said, you get about halfway through the game, and boy, after that it started to get pretty frustrating to me. Also, you know what, man, on a side note, little tangent, it seems like maybe I have more patience for games with a darker theme. Like, if those are difficult, like, I'm willing to stick with it more. But when I see something bright and sunshiny, like a Donkey Kong game or a Mario game or something like that, look, I don't want to breeze through it with no challenge. However, once the going gets really tough and borderline frustrating, like the contrast in between the difficulty and the childish presentation irritates the hell out of me. Like, I just have less patience for it. Yeah, man, so that's where it's at. At the end of the day, this is a pretty easy review, because if you're a fan of these games, the Donkey Kong Country games, if you're a fan of the series, I don't see why that would change here. You're probably going to love this game too. If you don't like those games, this one is not going to change your mind. And then finally, if you're like me and you're kind of, you're kind of middle of the road on this series, or, I would say better than middle of the road. I would give it, like, without getting really analytical about it, if I had to slap a number on this game, I would give it probably like a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. It's good, but I don't love it. I don't hate it. And that's really about all I have to say about this. So I'm going to stop talking, and please click like and subscribe, click the little bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.